We're here at Sigma Europe 2021 and I'm thrilled to be joined by Robert Grant, who is the chairman of Crown Sterling. Robert, thank you for being here with me.
Thank you, good to be here with you.
I have a feeling that you have some very interesting technology that you are bringing to market. Tell me about it.
We do, definitely. So Crown Sterling has a product that is basically the first quantum resistant NFT platform in the world. So quantum resistant. Now what is quantum resistance and what does quantum computing even mean?
You saw my face, right?
Yes, that's right.
Explain to me.
So quantum computers are the very advanced next generation of computing technology that allows for very rapid computations across very complex exercises that normally computers take a very long time to perform.
Okay.
And we've known that they're coming on the horizon for a long time. And the encryption industry has also known this. So they've been trying to work out ways to sort of deal with quantum computing when it comes out, but it hasn't come yet to blockchain.
Okay, so just take a moment for a second, if you don't mind. Explain to me what this quantum computing is, because I've heard this as a title that's been bantered around for a long time, but what actually is that? Why is that different to what we have now?
So quantum computers are here now, okay? And basically what quantum computers can do is they can perform tasks at a speed. Just last week was announced by a Chinese research group. They performed a very complex computational task that normally would have taken 10 to the 23rd power, right, times more time than they were able to perform it last week. So 10 to the 23rd power is 10 with 23 zeros behind it.
Right, exactly.
Right? Times speed. That's how much faster quantum computing can be.
But how is it doing this?
The way it does it is because it uses, instead of just a binary sequence of ones and zeros, like computational language, right? It uses a third, x, which is 1, 0, and x, and the x can go either 1 or 0. It can morph. It's got like a morphing approach to it as a language, which allows it to very rapidly perform computational tasks that are super difficult normally for computers to do. And that's really important for encryption technology.
Okay, so it sounds kind of complicated, but it sounds very, very exciting and interesting. Is there any downside to these quantum computing? I mean, first of all, I'm understanding about the encryption, I'm understanding that this is a different way of computing, but how is that going to impact us or impact the industries that we work in?
So imagine a very, very complex task like a prime factorization, which normally for a 2048-bit encryption, that should take about 300 trillion years to perform.
Okay.
Right? To find the two prime factors of a 2048-bit number, which has 617 digits on it.
Okay, I'm
That's not even that big. So just
you.
imagine a number with 617 digits, and I want to find the two numbers that multiply to create it, right? That would normally take 300 trillion years using state-of-the-art computing today.
Okay.
A quantum computer is believed, if it has sufficient number of qubits, to be able to perform that in probably about 10 seconds.
You're serious? This is amazing.
So what does that mean for computing and for VR and AR? I mean, it's pretty amazing when you think about the long-term consequence of the benefit that can come from this, how much energy can be saved, right? All the things that we think of as taking computational energy and effort that now can be done in milliseconds.
Okay, so we've got all the benefits. What is your role? What are the drawbacks?
Well, the drawback is that we need to make adjustments to our current encryption platforms. Because encryptions now, with quantum computing, are at much higher risk.
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
And again, this has been something people have known for a long time. It's just that we're the first to now implement the first quantum resistant encryption platform on top of blockchain so that people can have their own NFTs.
So pretty much anybody who had assumed that they were safe beforehand because of the complex...
They were safe with the current computers.
Exactly. But now, of course, with this new way of computing, they're under threat. So how do you protect blockchain users, or anybody else for that matter, from essentially what is a threat from quantum computing?
Well, the only type of encryption that's been proven to be absolutely resistant to quantum computing is that which is called information technology based cryptography. So information technology is not based on a math equation. So the current methods of encryption are based on math equations. I gave you an example of prime factorization. You take two very large numbers, multiply them together, that makes a public key that protects your bank account.
Okay, gotcha.
But it takes a long time to find those two factors, which are the two private keys. Okay? What one-time pad is the only information theory-based technology that's proven to be able to resist quantum computing because it encrypts each character that you're sending individually.
Okay.
So you have each character individually encrypted, and it's not based on a block cipher. It's not based on a mathematical equation. So because it's not a math equation, even a quantum computer can't break it.
Okay, so it all sounds a little tiny bit scary, if you don't mind me saying. We talked about these encryptions, and it's what makes people feel safe. And of course, we use encryption all the time, even if we don't know it. What is the timeline? You're talking about these quantum computers already being here. What's the timeline on this being a reality, that quantum computing is going to be part of our lives? And what is the timeline on us being concerned about our safety?
Well, I think we need to really be thinking about it now. And the reason is because if you look at it, Harvard University already just bought a quantum computer. All the major corporations in the tech field already have quantum computers. Honeywell has one, Google has one. We have one that's now has been basically installed with 400 qubits at Cleveland Clinic is the name of the place, and they're using it for epidemiological studies, right, in healthcare, for these that take this huge amount of data and basically then process all of this data. So quantum computing is here, and I already just saw an ad last week for buying a quantum computer that attaches to your laptop or notebook computer. So it is here, but the good news is we don't have enough qubits yet. That's the way that we sort of measure the strength of the quantum computers in order to crack all the encryptions yet. But it is moving at a pace now that is far more rapid than it's been over the last several years. And I was pretty shocked to see quantum primacy was achieved, which means that they were able to dramatically beat, like a quantum leap improvement over standard computing or even supercomputers to the degree I mentioned, 10 with 23 zeros behind it, faster than the current computers. That's a big deal. So it's something we need to be thinking about very much right now.
Can I ask you, who needs to be worried about this? Or not, let's not say worried, let's say who needs to be concerned about this quantum computing and the threat that it might be to somebody's personal safety and security?
I think that right now, ransomware is a big issue, right? It's a huge issue around the world. And I don't believe it's only going to be limited to corporations or municipal bodies or governments. I think it's going to go all the way to the individual level. Wealthy individuals and their family offices are already being ransomwared also. So we don't want our blockchains compromised. Blockchain is such a great technology.
Absolutely.
Why even take the risk? Why not already start implementing a technology that we already know is quantum resistant because it uses not a mathematical or number theory based approach. If you move away from number theory, then you can basically become quantum resistant, and it's quite easy to implement.
So I assume that your technology, your business, your approach to this is actually going to become commonplace, or at least it should become commonplace.
It should, because one-time pad, if you just Google one-time pad encryption, and you'll find the Wikipedia page for that, you'll find that it's already recognized universally as quantum resistant.
So you are sort of a bit of the Superman of the blockchain, aren't you?
Well, I don't know about that, but I am excited because I believe in personal data sovereignty for individuals. I believe that just like 2005, all of us ended up getting like cloud storage backups and stuff like this. We all had our iPods going to iPhones, etc. And I believe all of us are going to be getting our own NFTs very soon.
Oh, wow.
Because our data is the most valuable asset that we have. We just don't realize that yet.
Yes, I think
it's a $250 billion market, $2.5 trillion market when you look at it outside of just the brokerage network of the value of data. And as we move into metaverses, it's even more valuable. So we need to start safeguarding our data in a way that is going to be impervious to quantum computing. And to me, one-time pad is a solution to do that. So we built a platform that not only provides one-time pad, we did it on a concurrent transactions platform for NFTs. So we're built on a Polkadot substrate, which allows us to have 6-second settlement times, absolute concurrent transactions, 1,000 transactions per second per node. So it's a much, much better scalability platform. And when we combine that with our next generation compression technology that's going to be coming out, we already used a form of it in order to compress the keys for one-time pad, which made it practical. Why we're able to implement it on blockchain and others have not. We did combine that also with machine learning in order to meet all the standards and requirements of successfully implementing on top of blockchain a one-time pad technology. But we combine that with the state-of-the-art NFTs, and we think that this is an opportunity now for everyone to be able to have their own NFTs of all of their data, and eventually any digital assets that they want or collectible will be able to be stored in their wallet. It could be our wallet or any other of the wallets that are available in the market.
This is a success story.
I'm very happy about it. I'm thrilled to be here. You know, we worked on this for a long time. We have very talented programmers and mathematicians on our team. And we're excited to be the first in this quantum sort of world. And I think quantum computing is going to be a great thing. Quantum computing is not something we should be afraid of. I think quantum computing is something we should all embrace, because we're going to be able to do things with computers we never thought possible. Even maybe recreate a digital world that is indistinguishable from reality.
Well, listen, you say that. I mean, this is my last question to you. You say that, but we've seen such a rapid acceleration of advancement in technology. And some of those, a large percentage of those advancements are positive. And there are some that are still finding their feet and maybe questionable. With this quantum computing, are we going to see a further acceleration of technology within our lives? It sounds like this is a huge leap forward.
We haven't seen this degree in computation of leap forward ever before. This is not a step function. This would be like a 10 to the 23rd or 10 to the 100 or 10 to the 200 or maybe even 10 to the thousands improvement. I think it's going to come along with lots of other benefits on energy consumption. I think it's going to bring AR, VR to a whole nother level that we never ever thought even possible. I think it's going to enable metaverses over the next 20, 30, 40 years. So that if you want to be able to live Ashton Kutcher's life, for example, or Kanye West's life, you'll be able to purchase, very likely, the NFT of their life. Now just think about that and live that out if you wanted to. I mean, you could think of it as a game, or you could think of it as something kind of like the reality we live in now. Who knows? But it's an exciting time. And yes, we have to be very careful to secure that future, though. And that's why we need that very, very robust encryption to deal with this new age of quantum computing.
Well, you just answered my last question, my very final question, which was about it being exciting, but obviously we need to proceed with caution as well, and that's exactly what you're here for.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, you're here at Sigma, your first time at Sigma, first time in Malta. We're so glad to have you here. I'm going to ask you, Robert, I mean, it'd be great to have you back here next year and have this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And find out how much further forward we've moved. Would you be up for that?
I'd be happy to do it. And I've been thrilled here. I mean, I'm quite frankly kind of blown away how large this meeting is. I didn't come to the last meetings. Obviously, we had COVID last year. But the year before, some of our representatives were here. And I can tell you that I didn't expect it to be so vibrant, such a big conference. I've been to major conferences in probably 10 different industries. And this is sort of rivaling, you know, any of the ones I've ever seen, particularly here in Malta, which is really mind-blowing in and of itself. So congrats on putting on this conference and in such an interesting place to come to.
Oh, that's just great news. And it's really good to be able to sit down in person and find out what Robert and your team are getting up to. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Trudy.